From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spar on the radio.
Yeah.
Hello to Annika Jayne. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Ruben. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Chat to you. So, can you tell me how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that question.
How long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
Oh, okay. Actually, forever. If you want, I grew up listening to classical music, and I played violin and piano when I was a kid. And then when I was 16, I started writing songs. I've always wanted to compose because I've always admired the composers for creating such beautiful music. And then I discovered singer-songwriters like Suzanne Vega, James Taylor, and a French singer-songwriter called Francis Cabrel. And and in that moment, I knew I wanted to write, not only to compose, but I wanted to specifically write songs. So I wrote my first songs when I was 11 on the piano, and I don't remember them actually. And then I got a guitar when I was 15. And so I wrote my first song when I was 16 on the guitar. And yeah, I've been writing songs ever since.
So, you just started learning the cello. So, what is your favorite instrument that you play at the moment?
Well, the only instrument I actually play professionally is the guitar. As I was saying, I played guitar, violin and piano when I was a kid. I didn't continue with those. I'm playing a little bit of cello now, but I've only just started. So I'd say the guitar is probably, my favorite instrument.
So, what was it like going to the recording studio when you first released your debut album called Fabulous Scenarios?
Yeah. Well, when I got back in 2009, I was looking for a small studio not far from here. And that was quite exciting. I mean, it wasn't really a big studio. It was just a guy who had like a computer with a door on it and a separate room with all the mics. And that's where I recorded my tracks. But still, it was the first recording studio I ever went to. So yeah, that was really quite exciting. Long time ago now.
So, can you tell me more about your debut single called Fly Home?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the question.
Can you tell me more about your debut single called Fly Home?
Actually, first of all, I released the album, Fabulous Sceneries. And then a few years later, I actually began to understand the whole process about releasing singles. So I released Fly Home a little bit later than that. But it's a song I wrote back in 1994. So it's a very old song, and I wrote this within 30 minutes. And I had the melody in this case, and I just needed some lyrics, and they just all came together really quickly.
So, where do you get your inspiration from writing music?
Usually, I always tend to say that the songs find me rather than I find the songs, because what's happening that I hear a song snippet, lyrics and melody, and then I try to work around that. And the snippet can go anywhere later in the song, verse, chorus, bridge, whatever. And so that's kind of the inspiration that is coming from somewhere. I don't know, the universe maybe. If you're into this kind of spiritual thing, I don't know. But I always feel that the songs find me rather than I find them. Yeah.
So, does God part of your life, God?
I'm sorry?
Does God appear in your life?
I prefer to call it the universe rather than God, but it's definitely because God is, to me, is very restricted to the Christian faith. And the universe is more like everything, where every faith has its place, every spiritual direction, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I definitely believe in a higher power.
So, can you tell me more about Praying Hands?
Yeah. Praying Hands is a single from my EP, Time to Spread Your Wings. And in this case, praying is not actually meant in a strictly religious sense. It's a song about a friendship that isn't restricted to geographical locations. It extends every distance. I wrote it for my best friend when she left our hometown, Berlin. And I knew this friendship wasn't over. I knew we were still going to be as close as when she was still living in the same town as I was. And so praying in this sense is more like wishing somebody well, thinking of somebody. And I was looking for a picture to express that, and I came up with praying hands when one hand was her hand and the other hand was my hand, and we were in our minds coming together, thinking of one another. So that's the idea behind the song.
So you did release a Christmas single, didn't you, called My Christmas Wish? So can you tell me more about that?
My Christmas Wish is actually inspired by Matt Haig. He wrote a wonderful novel called Boy Called Christmas, which I read every Christmas season. And there's lots of wonderful stuff going on. It's a children's book, but I still love it. It has wonderful fancy stuff in it, like elves and reindeer, flying reindeer, obviously. And the elves have a saying. First of all, the word impossible is a swear word to elves in the book. And then they say an impossibility is just a possibility. You don't understand yet. And this saying doesn't actually didn't get into the song, but everything else did, like the elves, the angels, and all of that. So My Christmas Wish is actually like there's everything in there. It's a bit of the Christian phase, a bit of the elves, like the fancy stuff, and but it's very much inspired by A Boy Called Christmas.
So can you tell me more about when was the last time?
When was the last time is a single that only just came out as a standalone single for now. It's going to be on a future album that I haven't even started recording yet. It came to me in the summer of 2020 when I was listening to lots and lots of music and playlists. And everything, all of the social media stuff became a little bit too much. And somehow I was thinking, when was the last time that I did something that was actually meaningful to me? And so I came up with a lot of stuff that with a lot of questions. When was the last time I had a record on repeat, a whole album, actually, not just a song that I listened to, just in between. And when was the last time I wrote a letter to a friend? When was the last time I just was with myself, when I wasn't craving for anything, all of this meaningful stuff? And then I thought, okay, I have to go on pause with social media for some time, just go on a bit of hiatus for like 3 weeks and then come back refreshed. Yeah.
So does friendship mean a lot to you?
Oh yeah, it's like sacred to me, friendship. It's a recurring theme in my songs. Yeah, because it means so much to me. Yeah.
So can you tell me more about Friendship Bench?
Friendship Bench is a song that I write the music and whoever wrote the lyrics. And it's a song where Hugh tried to capture the aftermath of the Columbine shooting. So it's a quite dark song, and it's about grief. and it's about the struggles that a friend has who lost a friend. So it's from this perspective of the surviving friend, and it's I read the lyrics. I knew they were dark, but they also gave me goosebumps because it was so emotional. It was palpable. It was, it was all there. So I just had to write the music for that. And it's now a fundraiser on Bandcamp, actually. It's the National Victims Fund. Yeah.
So, bring up to date for in 2024. So, can you tell me more about The Dream Inside My Heart?
The Dream Inside My Heart is the third single from the forthcoming album, Cabs and Coffee Cups, which is a purely acoustic album, coming out on 21st of June this year on Bandcamp, and a little later on streaming services as well. And The Dream Inside My Heart was inspired by two poems in French. And I can't really recall the poems right now, but there's this Belgian poet who writes beautiful short poems in French. And two of them stood out to me in particular. I think one of them went something like, I'm paraphrasing here, I must have lived here like 1,000 lives. In each life, I was destined to say I love you. And the other poem was, I don't remember right now. I'm sorry, but yeah, it was, it had something to do with dreams that didn't come true. Oh yes, most of your dreams won't come true probably, but they have touched you so much that they will have changed you forever. Yeah.
So, can you tell me more about your latest single called Cafe of the Lost Dreams and New Horizons?
Yeah. Actually, all of the songs on the new album I wrote in the beginning of 2022, but I took some other songs that I had written earlier. And this one I wrote back in 2015 when I was in a really dark place. And I imagined this cafe where people could come and where they would feel safe, basically. And I also imagined the owner of the cafe, who has this kind of mysterious aura around her. And she gives the visitors treats like a coffee of hope, a chocolate of faith, biscuit of strength, and a cake of luck. And they instantly change your mood, but it's more like from the act of kindness. So, and the visitors step out of the cafe and have new perspectives and new possibilities, and they feel refreshed. And I think we all have this kind of place. It doesn't really exist in real life. It's more like a place you invent as you require it in that moment. And I imagine sometimes that we all meet in this kind of cafe and exchange ideas and talk to each other, or you could just go to the corner and just sit by yourself. But we all meet there at some point, and then we go our different ways again. Yeah.
So, can you tell me more about your new album called that's released on the 21st of June called Cats and the Coffee Cups?
That's the future album. As I was saying earlier, it's coming out on 21st of June this year. It was supposed to come out much earlier in 2022 already, and that didn't happen because mainly because my life turned around, and I had to find a new producer and all that, and then I found Brady Joe, which was quite a blessing, and so we worked on the songs, and now I don't really mind that it's coming so much later, because now it's a much better album. It's a purely acoustic, and the reason why it's purely acoustic is that in 2022 I launched the Garden of Creation, which is my subscription service over on Bandcamp. It's just €10 a year for all the digital stuff, and you can subscribe there. And I opened the Garden of Creation. Then I thought, oh my goodness, I have to offer stuff to people. I promised them I'd share songs that I'd only just written, so I better write some. So I wrote song after song after song after song, and I had so many that they turned out to be an album. So, and I really wanted to prefer it that way. I wanted to release an album instead of single after single after single. It's just old school, but then yeah, it's what I like. I like listening to albums. I like having them on an album. And the title Cats and Coffee Cups came to me rather spontaneously because there happened to be lots of coffee and cats that sneaked into the songs. So yeah. Yeah.
So what's it like recording in your home studio that you've got now?
It's there are both advantages and disadvantages to that. When I was in the studio, I often used to get feedback from the producer in that moment. They would say, sing it like this, sing it like that. And that's what I'm missing now because I'm just by myself. And I can only get the feedback later when I send the track off to Brady in this case. Yeah, and on the other hand, in my home studio, I can do take after take after take, and I'm not paying for it. So other than for the equipment that I got earlier, and I can just do as many takes as I like, and that's definitely an advantage. But for the next album, I have to see how I'm going, whether I'm going to a studio again or do it at home right now. I'll see.
So can you tell me how's it being an independent artist for you?
Who is the
Being independent artist?
Oh, what it's like? It's exciting, but also it's also exhausting because as an independent artist, you have to do everything by yourself. Not just the writing and the recording, but also the marketing and promo, and that can be exhausting. But on the other hand, I'm like truly independent and nobody tells me what to do, so that's nice. I don't really expect to become famous and rich. I'm just happy that I'm able to do music, and I'm happy that I have the possibilities these days to share it with so many people because of the internet and socials, and so that and I really found my tribe on social media with many like-minded people. So that really means a lot to me.
So finally, can you tell my listeners where can they find you on your social media?
Well, my handle is AJ Music across all social media. It's all the same, like Insta, Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon, TikTok, YouTube. I think YouTube is a different one, but other than that, it's always A Jayne Music, one word.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Goodbye.
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 Bye.